Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. My wife's sister's best friend is my ex. I know people are gonna say move past it, and I have. But she ex just makes it so weird. You know what? Let me just try to give y'all the story. I was fresh out of high school. My friend who I had grown up with my whole life had just got engaged to his high school sweetheart. Sil now. She was always trying to hook me up with her friend, my now ex. Eventually, after months of hanging out, and basically the ex throwing herself at me, I gave in despite some very apparent warning signs. She had confided to me that both of her past boyfriends had been sexually abusive towards her, and that she often thought of killing herself. I thought that I could help her and show her that not all guys are like that. Little did I know what I was in for. Months go by of the same routine of me talking her down from panic attacks, and off the proverbial ledge, so to speak. Until one day I get this long message of how we are done because she just wasn't happy because of me. In the weeks prior, I did everything I read about helping someone through depression. I even went and found professional help for her. You can imagine I was heartbroken. I spent a year and a half developing feelings for this girl, and she broke up over text with me on my birthday. Now I completely would have understood if she would have taken the time to actually do it in person and tell me we just weren't right together. But this was anything but that. This event was pretty hard on my friend circle, as Sil was my ex's only friend. And she was just as worried as I was about her. Next thing I know, she ex starts putting all these posts on Facebook about how I raped her and beat her, which was completely made up. For 3 months my entire friend circle alienated me as some sort of sick rapist type. Eventually she came clean about making all of it up. My Sil's sister started messaging me and told me she never thought I was that kind of person, and that she always wanted to be with me. Fast forward to today, we are happily married. However, my Sil is still friends with my ex and invites her to all of our events. I have tried to make peace with her, but she won't even look me in the eye, let alone have a conversation with me. I like to think that she is just so embarrassed about what she made me out to be that she can't face me. I don't hold a grudge against her because I think she just has a sick mind. Anyways, thanks for reading. Moral of the story: don't ruin somebody's reputation for no reason. I had family members question whether I was a rapist, abuser over this sick woman. End of story. Next story. My grandfather ran a Mexican food black market at his school despite my username. My dad's side of the family is almost entirely Mexican, with my grandfather immigrated to the US when he was 6 and took school there, and at lunchtime his mother would pack Mexican food for lunch and the other kids wanted a taste and they fell in love with it. This was before Taco Bell, so Mexican food in the US was rare. Later down the line, kids would pay actual money for my grandfather's lunch, so he started to load his bag with Mexican food and made a good amount of money for a 6 to 8-year-old. After he turned 8, the school that he went to banned trading lunches, basically shutting down my grandfather's black market of Mexican food. End of story. Next story. The multiple times my sister tried to kill me. 10 comments. Share, save, hide, report. 96% upvoted. End of story. Next story. Stalker thinks I'm lazy. 9 comments. Share, save, hide, report. 95% upvoted. End of story. Next story. Terrible news from Paraguay. I ask everybody in this subreddit to be respectful about this sensitive situation. But apparently there's a 4-year-old child who has cancer and needed a blood transfusion for some reason. However, The blood that was given to him contained HIV, and now this poor child has cancer and AIDS. We joke about these diseases a lot, but they take a toll on thousands of people every year, and survivors don't get enough credit. End of story. Next story. The dark side of the 70s when my grandmother was growing up. Her dad was very abusive towards her mom and her siblings. I think her brother Jimmy got the worst of it, because he got to the point where he started experimenting with drugs. Possibly cocaine or LSD. One night, he was driving home, and he was really high. He was listening to Black Sabbath's self-titled album, and the song Black Sabbath had come on. And Jimmy started hallucinating the scariest shit ever. When Ozzy said, "Figure in black which points at me," he looked in his mirror, and he actually saw a black shape in the backseat that was pointing at him. He was driving as fast as he could because he hallucinated that the trees next to the road were Satan's hands trying to grab him. He also saw himself laying dead in the middle of the road in a pool of his own blood. His family had a black cat. When he got home, the cat was sitting on the porch step, and he hallucinated the cat was the devil laughing at him. Don't do drugs, kids. End of story. Next story. I just found out my ex-friend lied about their age, so I met this person in college, and we became fast friends and hung out around school and campus. We've since fell out of touch and are no longer friends. And I'm glad for it. I will preface by saying this person struggled with their mental health and forgot things often. But that doesn't mean they didn't know they were lying, as they didn't correct me. Anyways, I was recently looking them up as one does to see if I could find anything about what they're up to, etc. And through one of those phone number pages, found their age listed as 34. This confused me, as according to my knowledge they'd be 26. Maybe it's an old number or a relative. This led me to remember a weird encounter. It was the first time we hung out, and they stopped for cigarettes at a convenience store and got carded. The cashiers were trying to do the math, and mentioned some year in the 80s. I asked my friend about this after, and was like, huh. That'd make you like trying to do mental math. My friend brushed it off awkwardly and said, "Oh, don't worry about it, I let it go." And I distinctly remember many times since then either saying they were born in 1995, because I remember excitedly remarking, "Oh, the same age as my sister." And that's how I remembered their age. I was never corrected by them. So, I decided to find out for sure. Since I knew their name and the high school they went to, I was able to find that their school had yearbooks posted from the early 1900s to 2014. Oh, perfect. Since my sister graduated in 2013, that'll be an easy find. But no friend in the 2013. Oh. I did the math and a 34-year-old would have graduated in 2005. I was 7 then. With a sinking feeling I turned to it and there they were. A senior in 2005. I felt sick. Their brother graduated 2 years before and there was no mistaking the two. I found pictures in each yearbook since their freshman year. It was them. Why would they lie? Would they think I wouldn't want to be friends? Duh. A lot of things clicked into place about them and what I knew about their life. But it makes me so uncomfy. I let them into my home, gave them rides, and genuinely thought they were one of my peers. It's also creepy when I remember they had an ex-girlfriend who was 19 to 20. Did she know? I hope she did. But that is how I found out my ex-friend lied about their age, and tainted any remaining good memories I had with them. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.